Welcome to QAgentic demo for SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA is a complex application. We will need to understand the intention, how SAP S/4HANA is used, the end-to-end process flow, and design our test based on the requirement document from the actual project. Now, let's say how QAgentic can help to understand of SAP S/4HANA. In this case, we will import from a visual diagram of the SAP process flow. This visual diagram is a typical SAP S/4HANA sales order creation flow. It goes from create sales order to open up the object pages, setting the various field to update pricing, to perform completeness check. And once the sales order is created, it will be displayed to the end user. Now, let's give the visual file to QAgent. We also give the SAP S/4HANA URL to the QAgentic agent so it can go to the application, follow an instruction of the visual process flow into this test environment based on the account credential we give. Now let's click import. The AI engine will be analyzing the test cases based on the visual process flow and also the real app. QAgentic goes to SAP pad, performed create sales order, and set various field value, 23 steps. 15 test cases is created of various priority. We look at the happy day scenario. It launched the Fiori Launchpad and then created the sales order. In the end, the sales order is successfully created without error. Let's import these test cases into our application. Now, let's open up the test cases to further configure it. In this create sales order test cases, we can see the natural language step that we slightly edited is all imported. We can further set up the dependency and prerequisite of the test case. In this case, we will see create sales order will be followed by create a delivery block due to missing credit line. This is where we build the dependency of how SAP end-to-end process get connected. QAgentic is also learning how SAP perform, how to recognize the specifics of SAP UI. Finally, we look at the verification step. Once we've drafted the test cases, we can create a test plan. First, we select which test case we run. We design a schedule, and after that, we click it off by giving the test execution the right environment, the right credential, and kick off the test execution. Now let's look at execution result. Once the test complete, the execution will have the test run report. Is executed correctly. In the first test cases, after it performs the logging, it will check the system setting and verify the language used and start to go to the Sales tab and perform the Create Sales Order step as we indicated on the left side. Here, choose the Create Info and set the values for each of the field to enter into the sales order creation view. We can see QAgentic set the data in basic data section of sales order header, set up the data in terms and conditions, set up the data in pricing and billing. Once this data at the header level is set up, we can also set up the line item level. In the line item, it will select the product, item category, requested quantity, and request delivery day. With the basic information, it will update the prices in completeness check before create the order. Once the order is created, we will look at the process how to set a delivery block after the created order. So you can see it goes to manage sales order view and sets the delivery block. These are all based on the instructions we gave QAgentic on the left side. Now we complete this visual workflow of create sales order and completed the end-to-end process of creating the sales order and creating a delivery block. We can also use QAgentic's capability to import not just from visual diagram, but also from Microsoft Word document. We can see a typical SAP requirement document for the sales order management module. It will have user story, the process flow, and the step-by-step instruction. We give the QAgentic AI engine the product requirement document and specify the application URL for QAgentic to go to the application and perform the task we want. We give the right access and then click upload. Now, the process has finished with 15 test cases created. By reading the SAP product requirement document of create order and delivery block, it goes through the application step by step. Once it's finished, it will present us with the test cases that's relevant in our case. These are the test cases generated by QAgentic AI based on the requirement document. We can also import these test cases similar to the process that we just did for the visual diagram import. Another key capability of QAgentic is in many IT organizations, an SAP rollout often encounter the challenge of different languages. For example, the company will be rolling out to Brazil using Portuguese, to Greater China region using Chinese. Let's see how QAgentic can tackle this multi-language rollout scenario. For both the Chinese and Portuguese execution, we use the same English test case description, but we ask the application to run on specific languages, in this case, the Chinese. It will perform the similar steps as we dictate in English. It will set up all the data as we asked in the test steps. And the validation needed and perform the task scenarios that we want in a completely different language. After setting up everything, it will run the update pricing incompleteness check and create the sales order. The same is true for the Portuguese language. So you can see the SAP UI, even though the language is completely different, the QAgentic AI can still proceed to update all the fields correctly, perform the task we indicated, and then create the sales order. Now, let's summarize. QAgentic AI revolutionize how we perform end-to-end business scenario validation in SAP S/4HANA to make the end-to-end process fit into our own specific configuration. And then, given the unique AI capability, scale the test coverage exponentially. Thank you very much for watching this video.